Hi, this is Caleb McCain with A Safe Landing Counseling Services. We bring a Christian perspective within counseling. Today I want to discuss a little bit about questions. I'm finding that people have a hard time with questions. They're not necessarily geared to ask question well. So many times people are in relationships, and I hear people come away from those interactions and say, I don't feel like they even asked me a question. They didn't even want to know about what's going on in my life. And other times I hear that it may be one-sided. One person is asking the questions. I've seen couples that struggle with questions and asking questions well. And so the power of question is what I want to talk about. The power of question is so important, especially in relationship, and even more so in relationship with God. If you are somebody who can ask questions well, you can get a lot of information, but you can also create a lot of connection, a lot of intimacy. And so for those men who want to be closer with their wives, to have more of a full relationship, there's a way to empower that through questions. And so when we get into a situation, maybe there's a way that we can start to think about what the other person's experiencing. And that's what we usually call a sympathy or empathy. Sympathy is more of a compassion experience. Oh, wow, something has happened to this person. I don't know what it's like, but that's an important moment in their life. Empathy is more of that moment where you think, if I were that person, this is how I'd feel. Okay? So when we get into question, it will help us to know those things, the differences between empathy and sympathy and how to utilize those. But also, question helps us in our own life and in our own growth when we're thinking about what's going on for us. How many people actually ask themselves questions like, why am I feeling this? What is going on here? What do I experience through this? Much less, how many people ask God questions that they're ready to receive from? Why am I feeling this to God? Why am I experiencing this moment? And can I hear from you on it? So those elements would actually bring so much growth in how we think and how we process our identity and how we become more like the image of Christ, okay? So when I start to ask questions, some of the things that come up first is the simple, shall I say, stupid questions. Something like, I wonder why they're thinking that. Or I wonder why do they say it that way? When I ask those questions, I get a lot of information back. I get a lot of feedback. So we want to ask questions to receive that feedback. We want to ask questions to get that information so that we have a more robust understanding of what's going on in somebody's life, what's going on in our own life. When it comes to identity, and I start asking questions, I may say to myself, okay, I just had a raw interaction, maybe with my children or my wife, and I think, okay, what's going on here? I reacted this way. Is that how I wanted to react? Well, no, I don't want to react that way. Okay, if that's not how I want to react, then how do I want to react? What is good about this situation? How can I learn from it? All those questions start to roll. If I'm not asking myself questions, what ends up happening is I'm not developing neural pathways to help ask questions of others. And so when I come into interaction with others, I just don't even have questions to think about. People come into the counseling, they say, you ask so many good questions, I don't even think about to ask those questions. And I say, well, we have to practice, right? We have to practice asking questions. I used to not ask questions. I used to not be good at that. But now that I practice all the time, and even asking myself questions and asking God questions, what do you think about me? What's good about who I am? What's good about the people around me? I just want to hear because I don't have the answers. All of a sudden, the burden is lifted off of my shoulders. It's not me anymore. I get God's responsibility taken. He takes care of that, and he pours into me what is good and what is pure and what is holy and what is excellent. And as I think about these things, my mind is transformed, giving me more identity of who I am as a son or a daughter of God. Now, this experience changes the interactions that I have, and it brings more life up, and I can feel the fullness of life. What I encourage people to do is start getting into just asking simple questions. Hey, why is that color your favorite color? What do you see when you look at this picture? When you think about these things, what do you feel? So when we feel, it's beyond the emotion. The feeling is physiological. We experience something in our body. That's why we just call it feelings. But typically we feel before we emote. The emotion is the interpretation of what we feel in our body. And if I ask my questions about even what I feel, God, why is my stomach this way? Or why is my chest feeling this compression? Why is my neck aching? Why is my head hurting here? Or why do I feel light? Why do I feel full here in this moment? When I ask those questions and I hear from God, it starts transforming my thought process into something new, and I become connected with heaven. Your personhood is to bring heaven to earth. You're bringing more of God's kingdom here. You are bringing the kingdom of God just by how you ask questions and think about who God is. And as you get closer to him, you bring more of his kingdom and people feel it and experience around them. I love this aspect. I want to see more of the kingdom of heaven come. I think that's what Jesus is talking about. And wherever Jesus is, there's the kingdom. So if you are struggling with elements of relationship and connectiveness, maybe turn into an inner reflection and think about the questions you could be asking for yourself, of God, and of others. I hope this is helpful. I hope this grows identity, this grows purpose, and this grows value in your life. God bless you. I look forward to seeing you next time.